everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? All right, grab your coffee. All right, maybe a snack or two, and let's get into it. So what we're going to be talking about right now is something that not a lot of people are talking about, and I think a lot of Americans are feeling this same way right now, especially when it comes to cost of living. Have you ever done a budget on, how much you bring in and what your bills are, and actually sat down and looked at everything and said, oh my God, you know what I mean? I've done my own budget and it's like, okay, I've got this much left, cause Sean gets paid bi-weekly. So, we have to do everything. Okay, this gets paid with this paycheck and then this gets paid with this paycheck, that type of thing. So, and then, whatever is left at the first, with the first paycheck are like, okay, well, we have to get through 2 weeks with this much money. You know what I mean? And so that's how we live. So it's paycheck to paycheck, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people are feeling what do you want to call it? The crunch, the burn, the pinch, or however you want to describe it, you know what I mean? And not a lot of people are able to have like a multi-income home, and a lot of families in America live below the poverty line. And I've heard so many stories just from you guys of how you can't get government assistance, whether it be EBT or whatever the case may be, because, well, I make $20 too much a month. Are you kidding me? $20. Okay, well, an emergency could pop up and that $20 is gone. You know what I mean? Well, you know what? Hurricane season is here. Okay, well, I have to go buy, some batteries and some water and some non-perishables. Okay, well, I have to buy this for hurricane season, or got to take my animal to the vet, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So nothing is looked at how it should be looked at. So there are so many stories that I've heard from you guys and you guys alone that make me question everything so many times over. And I think that this is a discussion that we need to have. Okay. And because I know that it affects every single person, regardless of how much money you make. And no, I'm not talking about, oh my gosh, I make $100,000 a year and I still have financial issues. Well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Are you living just way above your means? I mean, stop spending. You know what I mean? If you're making that kind of money, stop spending. There's no reason to have luxury cars and this, that, and the other. I mean, can't you just be happy with something that gets you from point A to point B? Yeah, I'm serious. You know what I mean? Sean and I drive a 2007 Ford Focus. And the driver's side door doesn't even open because the actuator in the handle has to be replaced. So I have to open up the passenger side door, climb through, open up the driver's side door, then shut the passenger side door, walk around and get into the car. Okay. Sean drives a 2008 Nissan Maxima. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you're driving. Okay. And also nobody cares that you have either an Android or an iPhone. Okay. I've had my cell phone for 7 years. It was like a model that was like 2 years old at the time. I paid $100 for it, and I've had it for 7 years. Nobody cares. Okay, if you are one of those people that looks for status and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, nobody cares. Okay, so knock it off. Okay, you don't need to have a $1,500 iPhone. You don't. Okay. All phones work the same. As long as you can dial 911 in an emergency, or you can send a text to your kids or your mom or whatever the case may be, then it's done its job, right? There's no reason for you to have all of these luxuries. As long as it works and it does its job, then you're good, right? So, I'm one of those people. I'm very simplistic. I don't need to have the newest and the best. I do not care about labels. I know people that I will not carry a purse unless it's a Coach or this or that. I spent $9.99 on my purse on Amazon. And the reason why I wanted that particular purse is because it's got pockets, and I could put this in this pocket, and it's got a pocket inside specifically for my gun, because it's made for women who carry guns. So I have, and it's got a holster like inside. You know what I mean? So it was one of those. But I mean, it's like a made in China type thing. You know what I mean? So who cares? I don't care about labels, and neither should anybody. But that's just me. So, these are just things that I think that because of the state of our economy, and if you are not making a lot of money, what are you doing buying Coach or Prada? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You need to focus on necessities, not wants. You know what I'm saying? Just saying.
Why is no one talking about how serious the cost of living actually is? So we pay like a really cheap amount of rent compared to like all the other rent I see. And we're a family of 6. We pay $9.50 rent. That's cheap. We're in Missouri. It's like not some nice new place or anything. It was actually built in 1890. My husband is working 3 jobs right now. We buy absolutely nothing that we don't need. And we actually go without a lot of things that we actually do need. I feel like if you're able to do anything that's not just surviving, then you got it good. I feel so sad that I didn't appreciate the times where we were able to actually have fun at this point. So much has changed in the past few years. Like, what? I just really, really want to know. How is everyone surviving? Is everyone working like 24/7? Because that's what my husband does. And I'm just home with my little kids all the time. It's kind of like depressing that we're never together as a family. So I don't know. I hope one day we can be, but it sucks.
So the woman in that video, I believe that the combination of stagnant wages, high essential costs, lack of benefits maybe, and the burden of supporting a family on multiple low-wage jobs that her husband may or may not have, we don't know, can explain why her husband is working 3 jobs and still leaves the family living below their means. They could have a very high car payment. They could have a high rent payment. They could have debt. This situation is indicative of broader economic trends, affecting many American families, where the cost of living outpaces income growth, leading to financial insecurity despite significant work efforts. So it's not saying that her husband is lazy and he doesn't want to go out and get one good paying job. It has nothing to do with that at all. Probably where they live, there's just nothing out there. You know what I mean? Now, being as though we're talking about this subject, I know, like, especially here in Florida, one of the big things that a lot of people like to live in are either mobile home parks or campgrounds. And that's because it's cheaper. Well, it's actually getting more expensive to live in a campground or a mobile home park than it is to stay in a hotel. Yeah. Historically, 80% of campgrounds involving small, like mom and pop operators, um, by like, what was it? 2022, I think it was. Um, 80% of buyers were bought out by like outside investors, private equity firms, BlackRock. You know what I'm talking about. Private equity firms have shifted to purchasing RV parks and campgrounds, and an estimated 1,500 campgrounds nationwide have been purchased, or they are significantly backed by private equity groups as of 2025. So here's a list of just a few of the private equity examples. You have Blue Water Development, quadrupled its portfolio to 34 RV resorts and campgrounds in just 3 years, with a $400 million development pipeline. Turnstone Group and Blue Vista Capital Management pursued $200 million in acquisitions and developments. National Land Lease Capital acquired properties like Bald Mountain Camping Resort for $5 million and planned a $25 million RV park development. Cedar Line Outdoor, backed by Halmos, and that's HALMOS, Capital Partners, acquired at least 3 KOA campgrounds, including one in Jonestown, Pennsylvania, for $3.5 million. Yeah.
Why are campground stays the same cost as a hotel? When did this happen? And why? I don't understand it. It used to be cheaper to stay in a campground than it did the hotel. I don't get it.
Now, here's one. Washington State. A resident there has just been notified that the new affordable housing units, and this is, at first I was like, how do you consider that affordable? No kidding. Are becoming available and has sent a breakdown of costs. With income below a certain amount, they can qualify for a low income unit. The cost for a studio apartment, $2,183. And that's the cheapest option. Rent is out of control here in America, guys. It is out of control. There has to be a solution. There has to be. We have to stop these private equity firms now. We have to. Fearless, God bless, and ciao.
Oh, look, the city is letting me know there's a new affordable housing opportunity. So the household income limits, you can't make more than $87K for a one-person household. Sounds about right, because I'm not making more than that. Let's look at the pricing details. $400 administrative fee, $400 deposit on approved credit, and the studio starts at $2,183. Oh my God, my problems are solved. That's so affordable. Let's check out the website and see what the price difference is between a regular price apartment. So it looks like if I wasn't in the affordable housing program, the studio would be about $100 more. They saved me a lot of money.